What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of our Pirates Rebuild here in Out of the Park Baseball 26. Thank you so much for continuing to stick with the series. I'm excited to keep pushing along here as we are in the 2028 season. And in last episode, we just wrapped up our first year player draft, selecting a new center fielder to build around, as well as a couple of pitchers and infield bats. Appreciate any feedback we got on those selections. But in today's video, we're going to kind of turn our attention back to the season at hand and like our performance on the field. We're going to continue pushing through these summer months here. We haven't advanced since in a couple episodes now. I guess we're on the 11th here of July. So the plan for this episode, we're going to continue pushing forward and kind of take a pause here at the All-Star break and look ahead to the trade deadline at the end of the month. Maybe some new players are added to the trade block, some teams turn into sellers that we, maybe didn't anticipate, or, just new players become available, and we can kind of look to see if any of those moves make sense for us during this kind of final couple weeks of July. And then, I don't have a perfect end date in mind for this video, but I think it's likely we push through a bit of August as well and kind of leave off somewhere in the back half here where we can plan for our September call-ups, and then next episode will really be that like stretch run where we try to push for the playoffs through September and October. So it's possible we have some changes with the team today, but I will admit that as I was looking at the trade block and all the teams that were hypothetical sellers, I didn't really find anyone that I was, madly in love with, that I was like, we have to go out and acquire these players. If you sort of look at our team as it's currently constructed as well, I don't know where we, really need the help. Our pitching has been tremendous. Like, Abreu has been good in the closer role. 17 shutdowns to only 4 meltdowns for him. Like, I don't think we necessarily need, like, back end leverage, and like maybe middle relief would be like an option, but like Oviedo's fine, and like Thomas White is fine. He's a Rule 5 pick. I at this point, we've carried him for so long, I kind of want to keep him in our system. And same for Ashcraft. We were kind of skeptical of him at the start of the year, but he has a 2.21 ERA and his WHIP is 1.12, so I think he's safe as well. So we're kind of like, I don't know. We don't have much room here to add pitching. And then, same with the lineup as well. Like, I don't know that there's any, like, tremendous weak link here. You could maybe argue third base, but at the same time, I still like Vientos and the slugging that he's bringing. He leads us in homers, or, he's tied with O'Neal Cruz for our lead in homers. So I don't think it's necessary to move on from him. And then same for Brian Reynolds as well. Even though he's a full negative 1.1 WAR player, I think we're just committed to continuing to run him out there. Like, to be in the spirit of the real life Pirates, I think we have to show some loyalty to our guy Reynolds, and he's still one of our highest paid players with 2 years remaining on his deal. I think it's a conversation we can look into in the offseason if we want to just cut him in the same way we did Ke'Bryan Hayes and eat this dead money. But I'm not willing to move off of him mid-season, as he is finally starting to heat up in July here with a 135 WRC+. So fingers crossed he can kind of turn it around and at least play at a replacement level for us for the remainder of the season. But yeah, it's going to be a weird trade deadline. I don't know that we're going to look to add anyone, to be honest. But I am going to, keep my eyes on the market to see what's possible. Last we sort of left off with on the field performance. Cedric Mullins went out with a foot contusion for a week. He still has 8 days left on the IL before he can come back. We have Jacob Melton as sort of our Band-Aid solution there. And so far in July, we have played above 500, but just 5-4 so far on the month. And the team as a whole, we're right in line with our Pythagorean expectation. But of course, if you remember the standings, Cincinnati is crushing it as of late. I'm actually, they put a 7.5 game degree of separation between us and them for the lead in the division. On the back of Ellie De La Cruz, who is having a tremendous season, he's pacing for 10 more. He's already got 30 homers and 28 steals, and he's OPSing over 1,000. So he's been really tremendous for them. And he's already been signed long term, so that's really fun for us to look forward to in our division for the next, however long this is. I guess it would be like 7 years. So they've locked up their star player. I'm actually curious of their monthly splits because they have just been so hot, you guys. Yeah, 19-10, 19-6, 8-1. They've been ridiculously hot the last few months. So it's going to be tough for us to overcome. I think we do have a couple of things to look forward to, though, on our end. Even if we don't make a trade deadline deal, we now have at the AA level, Dan Beebe has returned off of his shoulder scar tissue cleanup, and he has made one start kind of off camera before we got to the draft, and it went really well. He went 5 1/3, threw a conservative amount of pitches, only 86, but good ERA, whip, walked 4, which is a little concerning, struck out 8, but you think he's still coming back from injury, but I think we can try to get him up sometime in August. I would like him to make one more start at AA, and as long as that goes well, I think we bump him to AAA for maybe a start or two, and then kind of right at the end of August, maybe he factors in for us, and I could see us, maybe sending down Oviedo or something like that. I'm still unsure of the role I want Dan Beebe to fill. It would either be like a high volume stopper out of the bullpen, or we just throw him into the rotation and move somebody like Thomas Harrington out. But again, it's going to be difficult to determine who gets kicked out of the rotation because everyone has been performing so well generally for the whole year. But we can kind of look forward to that. I don't know, like I said, if we're going to make trade deadline moves or not. But let's go ahead and start moving here. I've done enough table setting. I'm sure you guys are, anxious to get back to the on-the-field performance, and so am I, to be honest. We don't really have any pending business in these final days leading up to the All-Star Game, so I think it's likely I'll just run through all of this and kind of circle back at the end of the All-Star break with the announcements of the rosters and the future game and the MVP of the All-Star Game, all of that. And then, like I mentioned in the background, I will continue to monitor the trade block and opportunities for us there. But let's get rolling. I'll be right back with those updates in a sec. All right, guys, as you can see, we are continuing our 500 ball play for the month. We ended up taking the series on the road at KC, but then, come back to lose against Minnesota. So we kind of roll into the All-Star break at just 7-7 on the month of July, right in line with our 13-13 in the month of June. So I think the team is starting to perform, closer to maybe how I projected us to perform at the beginning of the year. I think maybe we were, I don't know, the first couple of months we were more in line with the preseason predictions, and then now I think we're settling back down to earth where I think it's more accurate to our talent on the team. But you'll notice, if you're eagle-eyed, that we have now slipped to third in the NL Central. So, we are not doing ourselves any favors here. St. Louis has surged 9-1 over their last 10, and we are now 8 back of Cincinnati in the Central, and just kind of locked into the third wild card spot. There's a 4-game separation between us and New York, and then obviously Arizona and LA are currently tied. So one of them would kick down, and then it would be, them, St. Louis, and then us if the playoffs were to begin today. So I'm still looking at potential additions to the team, but it's really difficult, you guys, to make anything work just because while we have available money now, we're projected to operate at a loss on the season, and I'm still being ultra conservative with that because I'm trying not to get us fired by our owner. So we can't I don't know, make too many dramatic moves, and I don't think I want, like, the one thing we could do would be to DFA Brian Reynolds, but I don't know that I am, like, committed to doing that just yet. Like, potentially toward the end of the month we could do it, or later in the season even, but I don't want to do it now. And I look at the trade market and I'm just not blown away by like what's available. There's in terms of, we don't really need pitching. First off, like, I don't even know where we'd fit a pitcher in. And then in terms of batting, like, there's Marcell Ozuna and some of these other guys that, like, if we were to DFA Reynolds, we could slot Ozuna in as our DH. Hypothetically, he's had a great season for KC so far. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I'll just have to continue keeping eyes on it. But there's really no one else here that I'm super interested in. Like, there are just like overpaid veterans, or like J-Ram is here, but he has a no trade clause and would not consider being traded to us. So we're kind of out on that. But we've had some news develop, over the course of the last week or so of game time that I can catch you up on. First of all, before we get into the news, we've signed the majority of our draft picks. I think all of them, actually. Yes. So we've pushed a couple guys up to A-ball. Jason Solis has made 2 starts, and he's looked really, really good. Positive game scores in both. Pitching pretty deep into games, 5 1/3 both times. Getting a good amount of strikeouts and keeping the walks down. So, I mean, that's what we'd like to see for sure for him. The 21-year-old just coming in straight away and making an impact. And we've also promoted Trevor Wonderly, who's off to a hot start as well. Only 17 plate appearances, but hitting .471, OPSing 1,000. Like, really good here. Just in the early stages, he's our everyday shortstop. And then similarly, Ben Small has also been called up. He's only played 3 games, but in 11 plate appearances, he's had 3 doubles, 6 RBI, hitting .636, OPSing 1,500. So at just 18, near 19, we feel like he's ready to handle A-ball already. So really encouraged by the early signs there. But again, it's super limited sample, so who knows what ends up happening with him. But I wanted to update y'all on those 3. And, we did sign everyone else, but they're not ready for A-ball just yet. So if we go to the, roster announcements for the actual All-Star game, you can take a look through here as I scroll. First, we have all the AL players. And, it's a lot of names we're familiar with. I don't know that there are any big surprises. Sebastian Walcott is injured, so the young star has a broken bone in his elbow that is going to end his season prematurely, so that's unfortunate for them. In the National League, Paul Skeens gets the start with the Mets. He's at a 1.1 WAR on the season, 10-4 record. And not really a ton of love for our pitching staff, despite like our strength as a team being pitching. We don't get any recognition here. We only had 2 All-Stars, and they're both first-timers. We get Nick Gonzalez here at second base, who's having a tremendous season, as we've been tracking closely. And we also get Termar Johnson in the outfield. Kind of surprising that he would get the nod over O'Neal Cruz, who is absent here. But Termar gets in there as well, almost 3 WAR on the season so far for him. And then in the futures game, you can see the AL side here. A lot of names that we're familiar with, of course. But on the NL side, Dan Beebe gets in there across several levels of the minors. You can see his strong stat line there. And then Shosei Fujimoto also gets in there for us, that Japanese closer who we signed out of free agency several years ago. And then Danny Jimenez is also appearing here. He's, last we checked in on him, he was kind of struggling, but he has since turned it around a bit. 5 homers, 21 ribby in 30 games, OPSing now 928. So he's settled in, it looks like. So looking forward to production from him in the back half. But no other nods for us. This is the first year that Connor Griffin was kind of snubbed from the game, which is maybe notable. But if we look at the box score of the Futures game, you'll notice that on the National League side, we get Dan Beebe, no hits for Danny Jimenez, unfortunately. I don't even know that he got an at-bat, but Dan Beebe actually started the game, and he got touched up, unfortunately, for like a 2-run homer, I think. So just not the best first inning for him, but then Fujimoto came in and shut it down. I thought that was funny to look at their actual performance. But Corbin Carroll won the home run derby, beating out Xavier Isaac for the Rays. And in the actual All-Star game, it was the NL who dominated on the back of Jefferson Rojas, who has really turned into quite the player. Back-to-back All-Star nods, Silver Slugger last season, in his rookie year in the league. So he's been quite good for Chicago. If we go to the box score, I don't know that. I think I remember looking. Termar had a sac fly, nothing from Nick Gonzalez. So kind of quiet from our guys. But I think those are all of the major updates that I have written down here. Like I mentioned, I don't know that we're going to be buyers at the deadline. I think we're financially tied, and we're going to have to, figure something out from within. If we're going to make a move, it's going to be waiving and DFAing Brian Reynolds, and it's going to be calling up somebody from AAA to take that slot. I don't think we can go out to market and make a big trade, but I'm still going to, continue looking over these next couple of weeks. Let's go ahead and finish out the month off camera. I'll come back to you on trade deadline day with, any decisions that we may arrive at over the next week and a half of game time. But we've got a nice homestand here. Hopefully we can get things back on track with some strong play. We get the White Sox here for 3, and then Detroit for 3, Arizona for 3 as well. So we're going to be home for a while here before starting a road trip to the West Coast. So let's get to it. Fingers crossed we can get back on track here. All right, y'all, we're rolling in here to the end of July, and as you can see, we've had a good stretch of play, only losing 2 games post-All-Star break. So, coming out strong against Chicago, and then we win a couple in extras here, one against Detroit, one against Arizona. So kind of grinding through here. Now we're up to 14-9 on the month of July, so a nice 600 winning percentage there. And we've clawed back a bit in the division. We're still 3rd, but we're only 4 back now. So we're making up some ground while, Cincinnati is slipping just a bit. St. Louis remains very hot, so we haven't, vaulted them just yet. But we've been playing a lot better as of late, which is good. But of course, now we're at the trade deadline day. We have not advanced past this San Francisco game just yet, and I don't think we're going to make any moves, guys. I'm sorry to disappoint. I was looking at, what would make sense for us to do, and, we need offense, I think, is our major deficiency, but, there's just not a player that I like on the market right now. And when you look at this trade block, we have it by batters here, and you can see there's, Riley Green, Buxton, and Royce Lewis all here from Minnesota. But why would they be sellers if they're first in the AL Central? I'm not going to rob them of a good player when they're clearly all in competing this season. And like I mentioned, they're at the top of their division, likely going to make the playoffs. So I don't think that makes sense for us to attack. We have already kind of reviewed J-Ram is not willing to come here. So, I could have seen maybe some sort of package for him on a 1-year rental where maybe we send them Vientos and a piece to get him for half a season to, boost our hitting a bit. But that's sort of off the table, and I just don't like anyone else here. And I think, we have the squad we have. We've made it this far. We've shown we can compete at, with our current makeup. So I think we're good to just continue on into the back half with our guys here. So we've, clawed back on our projected margin a bit. Fan interest is growing steadily. It's up to a 57 now, after previously being like, I don't know, mid to low 50s before. We're starting to get more attendance here in the ballpark. Our attendance per game is now only down 5.2% year over year, and when we started the season, it was at like 8%. So we're making steady improvements due to our strong play. So I think we're just gonna roll, guys. I think we're gonna roll. We do have, hopefully we can work Dan Beebe in sometime later in August to maybe a bullpen role. I think, we would likely send down one of Oviedo or Ashcraft in order to slot him in there. But, otherwise, we're going to keep things stocked. We do have Cedric Mullins back now after his foot injury, so we are at full strength here. Hopefully we can stay healthy for the remainder of the season here. But let's go ahead and start cranking through August. I'm going to, go maybe until the 9th here. We'll go on the road for 3 at San Francisco, on the road for 3 in Colorado, wrap around back home for 3 against San Francisco before we start a nice long stretch of divisional play. That'll be crucial for us to keep close tabs on. So I think this is a good stopping point here. I'll be, keeping close eye on the AA schedule. I don't believe they play until, no, they do pick up here. So Dan Beebe will likely get another start there at some point during this time. And then after that is over, we'll likely give him the bump to AAA where he can make a start in one of these weeks here. And then, depending on how that goes, maybe he's ready to come up and debut. So that's something to look forward to. We'll keep moving along here. I'll be back, like I mentioned, after we wrap these next 3 series. All right, guys. We've got major news here. We're back a little bit early, but Braxton Ashcraft has gone down with a damaged elbow ligament. No! He's going to be out for 13 whole months, so, it's going to eat into his time next year as well. It's likely maybe he's pitched his last inning with us, when I think long-term about, what his role is with the org, I don't know how he's going to recover from this. So this is really bad for him. Obviously, we on the field have been picking it up as of late. You can kind of see a teaser here. We're now only 2 games back of the division lead. But really unfortunate end for him. He came in 2 days ago, threw 30 pitches, got 2 innings of work, and just kind of blew out. So that was really his major injury. He hasn't been injury prone or anything like that. He had a shoulder thing last season, but he's kind of been one of our cornerstones of our pitching staff ever since we started the sim. He got starting work for us early on, and we kind of moved him into a bullpen role. And we like his stability against both sides, so it's really just unfortunate for him to go down. So we're going to end up moving him to the 60-day IL, and that will conveniently open a spot for Dan Beebe down the line. Speaking of Dan, I don't think it's his time yet because he just made a start at the AA level, and we ended up promoting him to AAA off of that. So he has yet to make a AAA start. He is upcoming in the rotation. He should pitch in 2 days from now. You can see his AA stat line: 2 games, 10 innings, sub 2 ERA, whip really good, FIP awesome, striking out 15 per 9. We're gonna try to get him up ASAP, and I'm really excited about it. Obviously, you can see his ratings relative to AAA. He's an 80 grade guy. Huge fastball, everything is looking positive, so hopefully he can get some good work there. He's got good, relationships with all of our coaching there. Hopefully he can get 1 or 2 good starts. I think if he's going to pitch here, maybe we let him do that and then get 1 more, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He would be back up, I guess, a week later on the 16th. We'll see how those go. If we see encouraging signs, then we can bring him up to the majors and start to get him bullpen work, I think. or at least that'll be the plan. I don't know if I guess if Burrows or Harrington were to really cool off, we could look to move them into the bullpen, I suppose. But they've been so strong. I'm kind of inclined to leave them as our 4-5, and then we can just be mindful. I kind of want to preserve Dan Beebe's rookie status if we can, so we need to keep him under like a certain innings amount or I guess 45 days on the MLB roster. I need to go familiarize myself with the rules again. I don't know them for certain, but I'm pretty sure it's like 50 innings or like 45 days on the MLB roster. So we're going to try to thread that needle if we can. Obviously, there are 31 days left in the season starting September 1st, so we would work backward from that. I think we would be fine bringing him up like sometime in these final 2 weeks. So I don't know what the corresponding move is going to be. For the current, situation, we lose one of our righty bullpen arms, and if we go to our 40-man roster here and kind of look at who we have available to us, I don't think Santucci makes sense because he's only pitched at Double-A this season. Of course, we have Bubba, who honestly we may just throw Bubba back in there just to see how he looks. I don't know. He's pitched a lot better out of the bullpen. If you go to his splits here, like as a starter, it has not been good, but as the bullpen arm, he's been a positive WAR player. So maybe that's his role for us this season. We can get him back up. I'm gonna take a look off camera, of course, as well. But Superman has not been good. We actually demoted him to Double-A recently because it just was he is below replacement level, giving up 3 homer per 9. I think we may be done here with him, like long term. I don't think the movement's ever gonna come along. So Skylar Hales was sort of a miss for us. Lister Sosa could be a viable option for us. Has been above replacement level at AAA, but at the same time, I don't want to purchase his contract and then be on the hook for $960K. It's kind of a lot. I'm not even sure if this is guaranteed currently or not. If we are already paying him this, we may as well just call him up. And that may be the case if we go to... no, it does not look like the case. Am I seeing him here at all? Am I tripping out? Because these are alphabetical order, and he does not appear here. And he should slot in in between here, hypothetically, but he's not here either. So yeah, I think I'm right in being skeptical. I don't want to be charged for his contract purchase. So, all that to say, it's kind of between Bubba and Skylar Hales. And, we have Jaden Woods as well. But, that makes us so lefty-heavy in the bullpen. Because we already have De La Paz, Holton, and White. I need another, right-handed guy. So I think it's going to be Bubba for, 2 weeks. I think that's just, how it's going to have to be. And we'll just put him into a low-leverage middle relief role. And then keep on moving along here. We have Arizona Fall League selection due imminently. So let me finish out the rest of this, and then we'll kind of recap everything that's gone on. Okay, guys, quick update here. Post-injury, as you can see, we've kind of been up and down. We ended up winning this series against San Francisco on the road. We took the final game in July, and then 1 of 2 here in August. So... decent series there, but then they come back and sweep us a week later here at home. We lose 1 in extras. That was pretty brutal, but we also swept Colorado on the road in between there. So, we're kind of just 4-4 so far in September. 3 games above our Pythagorean expectation, though, and we've settled back into our runs scored in the NL being 6th, and we still have good pitching, but we've dropped slightly, I think, with the loss of Ashcraft. I don't know that his stats are factored into this anymore, but we're now 3rd in ERA. But we're still kind of positioned pretty well for a stretch run here. Only 3 games back of Cincinnati now. St. Louis has really cooled off. They've gone 2-8 over their last 10, and we've kind of just maintained 500. So there's a little bit more separation between us and them, and now we're looking pretty good for a wild card spot. But I still think there's an outside chance we can come from behind and take the division. Keller and Burrows are both up there in terms of wins. Keller's ERA has still been really, really good, and Abreu is one behind Evan Phillips for the lead in saves in the NL. So pitching definitely holding it down. As far as news that has happened, I mean, we pretty much reviewed it. There's we had the Ashcraft injury. Thomas Harrington is heating up, as well as Termar Johnson. JoJo has not been very good, y'all. We have him just doing strictly lefty specialist work, and he's been terrible all season for us. He has a 9 ERA and a 2 WHIP. And I would just send him down, but we can't because he's out of option years. And it's just how are these ratings not performing? It's just total mystery. It's just reliever volatility at its finest. So we're unfortunately just kind of locked into running him out there, I think. But the bats have been picking it up a little bit. Everyone's got a good chunk of homers and RBI here. Even Alfonso and Mullins chipping in as well. And we got, when we advanced the month into August, we got not Dev Lab, but just player updates. And one of those updates was Wyatt Sanford is now valued at a 70 grade potential. His defense at short improved to a 65. Well, you can just see it here. His defense improved, his current rating improved, his potential also improved. So he's looking really good. For the time being this season, we're only running him out against right-handed pitching. We're letting Peguero take the lefty at-bats. But I think next year we look to just start Wyatt Sanford full-time and just kind of throw him out both sides and try to make him more well-rounded. The splits certainly justify our choice to bench him against lefties this season. But this being his first taste of major league action, in an extended sample, we're just trying to protect him a little bit. I think next year, with this newfound potential ceiling and still room to grow, only 22, we need to just get him as much exposure both sides as we can. So a little bit of player dev news, but now we've got a big stretch of play coming up here. We've got 4 against Cincinnati at home. It's feasible if we were to sweep them, we would take first place in the division, but I'm just hoping for a 3-1 or even a split. We would take a split. So we've got them at home. Then we go on the road in the Midwest. We got Milwaukee and Chicago. So a lot of big games here. I think it's likely the next time I check in will be on the 17th here, though. I don't think we'll get to the Chicago series yet because I want to review our selections for the Arizona Fall League, and the deadline for that is on the 18th here. So let's see how we do here against Cincinnati and Milwaukee. This is going to be a huge stretch for us that kind of dictates our mood for the rest of the month. So fingers crossed. All right, guys, we're back, and we couldn't have asked for much more in our recent play. We gut out 1 in extras in the first game against Cincinnati, end up taking 3 of 4 in the whole series, and then go on to sweep Milwaukee, which now places us first in the NL Central. We don't have it outright. We have a tie between us and Cincinnati, and then a 4-game gap between St. Louis. So we've really turned it on to all of our doubters and haters. We have made it back into the top of the Central Division thanks to Mitch Keller and Mike Burrows, 2 unlikely heroes of our pitching staff. Jared Jones is doing good as well, and then Abreu is continuing to hold it down. So really strong week of play. Before we get to the Arizona Fall League selections that I wanted to do together to sort of wrap up the episode, I did want to touch on the performance of Dan Beebe at AAA. So we called him up during this week of play here, and he made a start. He's made 2 starts at AAA so far. The first one did not go so well. If you look at the one I'm highlighting here, he gave up 6 and got hit for 2 homers for just a 32-game score on the 9th. But then he came back on the 15th and was shoving, 3 hits, 6 Ks, 67-game score. I recently rescouted him, and he went up to a 65 overall. So he's continuing to develop. His current velo gained a tick up to 98 to 100. So we need to get him up to the MLB imminently. My plan is to, when I look at the AAA calendar here, Finn McElroy is going to get this next game, and then it's likely Jaden Woods gets the game after. So this will be Finn McElroy, this will be Jaden Woods, and then they'll have an off day. And then I think Dan Beebe will pitch here on the 21st. I'm going to let him get that one game, and then we're going to maybe go through a couple of games here to let him kind of rest up. And then ideally, so like I'm thinking on the 24th here, that will be his call-up date for us here at the majors. And then that way we can, make sure he's not on the roster for too long to maintain his rookie eligibility. And, I think the plan will be to throw him into the Bubba Chandler role here in the bullpen, and we'll just try to use him as much as we can. And as long as he doesn't reach a 50-inning limit, we should be good. So that's something to look forward to in the next episode, in addition to our September call-ups, of course. But the purpose of stopping here was to update you all on the standings and then also do the Arizona Fall League roster selection together. So when I come in here to the screen and then we go toggle to our Saguaro players, there's a bunch of guys here. If we just remove our organizational filter, like you can see, there's like a pool of 128 eligible players here to choose from. So we're just going to have the AI set up the roster just initially, and then we'll kind of filter for our guys to see, make sure everyone we want in here is in here. So pitching wise, this is the first time I'm looking at it, by the way, so we're just going to make some decisions like on the fly here. Pitching wise, the guys who are, it looks like they have Klecker and McElroy in there, which I like. McElroy has been kind of weak at AAA. He when we called him up to AAA, he immediately had like an elbow tweak, and that put him out for about a month. And now he's back as fragile, which you don't love, and he's kind of struggled through his first 3 starts there. A couple of them have been okay, but the most recent one was like really not good. That kind of tanked his numbers. So I do still like him long term, but you have to like keep in mind that like committing guys to play here in the fall league kind of removes them from dev lab consideration, because should they suffer a day-to-day injury at the fall league level, it would halt their progress in the dev lab. So just something to be mindful of. I would like to get Santucci in there, but I'm not sure at the expense of who. Probably Matt Ager. Because I don't really think we're committed to him long term. So if we remove Ager and throw in Santucci, I think I like that better. I do like this Hero Wyatt guy because he has a big fastball potential, and he's still just 23, 24. You think he can have plus stuff and good at holding runners. He's just a guy we like signed out of free agency randomly, so I don't mind him being here. I don't really care too much about any of these other relievers, if I'm being honest. The one guy I would maybe like to get in there is Jaden Woods, but we also think he's like pretty much fully developed. I think it's possible we just work him in as lefty specialist next year out of the bullpen. Because if we move him to a reliever, his stuff is going to tick up a bit, and we still think there's room to grow with his pitches. So I don't think it's necessary that he plays in Fall League, even though I would like to get him in there. I'd rather have Klecker, McElroy, Santucci, and Wyatt over him, I think. But let's look at the batters. There's really not too many to choose from here, but I do like that Adonis Guzman is here. He was our catcher that we selected in 2025 in the 6th round. He's like a tremendous defender, but not sure the bat's ever going to be there, although he has hit well at the AA level so far this season. Positive WRC plus player there, and definitely an above replacement like WAR player just due to his defense. So I like that he's getting in there. Axel Plaus, I don't think really needs it. I think we can just call him up to the majors next season. Like, he's OPSing 1,000 in AAA. We may even call him up in September, if I'm being honest, and have him substitute for Andy Rodriguez as our catcher against left-handed pitching, because I think that's a role he can fill, and I think he's pretty much ready. So I don't think he necessarily needs the run in Fall League. Tony Blanco, I think I'm good with him going. Camden Cozile, I'm good with that for sure. I would like to get Elian Pena in there, I think, over one of these guys. And Esther Suero is here as well. Gavin Turley is here as well. It's always the eternal question of Connor Griffin. Do we value giving him a dev lab assignment over play in the fall league? And like last season, we pulled him to go to the dev lab, and the program was unsuccessful. So we were like left with nothing at the end of the off season, where he did not get dev lab result or development from the fall league, obviously, because he didn't play, and then also the dev lab program failed, so he didn't get results from that either. So it's definitely a tough question. I'm inclined to pull him out, but let's revisit it in a bit. Brady Sacco, he's a captain. He's 25. He's just a 40 grade potential guy. I think I'm content to pull him. Eddie Rinders has a little bit more upside, and he's way younger, so I think we're fine to maybe leave him there. If we pull Sacco and add in Elian Pena, hopefully that takes. I'm never sure, like, we've gone over this last season, but when you hit finalize roster, there's no like visual feedback that like any of the changes actually work. So hopefully all this like agonizing over what's going on actually makes a difference in the end result. Gosh, I don't know what to do here with Connor Griffin, y'all. I kind of want to run him through the dev lab again. He's starting to turn it around at AA now, where I think maybe in the final month of the season we give him AAA run to try to boost him up. I think we'll likely call up an outfielder as well, and that'll kind of clear the way for him to get more playing time at the AAA level to finish out the year. But back-to-back months of strong play, I think we'll push him to success. I think I am going to pull him out and commit dev resources to him again, because there's still so much power to tap into, guys. And same for contact as well. I think we could just really get him in the dev lab cooking again. So we're going to pull him, and I think we're going to put in Esther Suero, the switch hitting outfielder who we've reviewed before. He didn't get any run in there last year, and he's having a great year at AAA himself, so I don't think we would commit resources to him in the dev lab, so I think he would be an ideal candidate just to get more playing time here. So I'm good with this. Let's go ahead and lock it in. We're going to hit finalize, and then nothing is going to happen, and we're just going to hope that all of these changes take. So I guess that's the best we can do. Like, I don't know, you guys. I think that's just all we've got. So let's go back to our Pirates here. I am content to play just one more series here against Chicago to kind of tie a bow on our divisional games here, and then we'll leave it there and kind of look ahead toward the next episode. But let me finish up here. I'll be right back. And we are back, you guys. I mean, just look at this stretch of play. We didn't lose all week. We swept the Cubs. We're winning like very tight margin games here, like extra inning, 1-run game here, 1-run game here, 1-run game here, extra inning win here, and then we kind of turn it on. It's just like the team is firing on all cylinders. We now have gotten up to 75-50. Our record in August is 13-5, our strongest win percentage month on the entire season. And we're 5 games above our Pythagorean expectation, so we've gotten a little bit lucky as well. And hey, we'll take it. 1-run games, extra inning games, we're positive in both of those. We're really good against left-handed starting pitchers, and we're above average against righties as well. So 9-1 over our last 10 places us 2 up on Cincinnati now in the Central. So we're back. We're so back, taking our spot on the throne of the NL Central, but we're still, going to be a little, we got to be on our toes. We're not going to, the season does not end at the end of August. We still have a lot of baseball left in front of us where so much could happen. So I think we're going to end the episode here, though, you guys. We've made significant progress through the All-Star break and trade deadline, and we've set ourselves up for an exciting stretch run in September. So in next episode, we'll have Dan Beebe's final start at AAA to look forward to here, and then we will likely call him up just a few days later to slot into our bullpen moving forward. And then we'll move through our September call-ups, kind of reorganize our roster around that event, and then hopefully play some games live down the stretch in September. I really liked that aspect of the episode we did last year where we kind of let the drama unfold on camera. So it'll likely be a race against, our magic number or whatever, however that shakes out. Our magic number is 36. So as we tighten the gap on that, we'll probably go game by game on camera. And then we'll see how we finish. I think if we don't make the postseason this year, it's going to be truly, truly heartbreaking. But stay tuned for that in the coming days. As always, I appreciate you so much for watching and your time spent on this video. Any support you could leave down below, whether that's a comment or a like, would be greatly appreciated. But I'll see you soon for the next video. Thanks.